The entire Norse chapter of the God of War franchise mysteriously revolves around this one character called Faye. And not only in the game, but she's that mysterious in Norse mythology as well. Laufey, also known as 𝐦𝐨 in Norse mythology, was an Aesir frost giant and was Loki's mother. Yes, Santa Monica got that right. But the others we can't say for sure, because that's the only bit of information there is about her. She is important to the backstory and lore of God of War's Norse saga, and plays a role in setting the game's narrative in motion. So let's see how the game builds her fictional story. Somewhere between God of War 3 and the series' 2018 soft reboot, Kratos and Faye met, got married, and Faye gave birth to Atreus. However, by the time the 2018 game begins, Faye is already dead, though her wish that Kratos and Atreus spread her ashes from the highest point of Norse mythology's 9 realms kicks the game's plot into action. The early years of Faye's existence are a mystery because of many Jötunns lived a secretive lifestyle. But from what we know, Faye was a fierce fighter who could hold her own, even against the giants. In fact, her skills spread so far throughout the land that she is considered a legend amongst the Aesir, with even Thor going out of his way to try and hunt her down. She was a formidable fighter, but she was also renowned for her compassion and is highly regarded by many as the guardian of Jötunheim, a legend that would circulate throughout the 9 realms. As expected, due to her incredible strength and formidable skill, Faye would be given a great honor by her people, gaining the mantle of Guardian of Jötunheim, a prestigious title where she would protect her people from all outsiders that may do them harm. She played out her part for a very long time, warding off everybody who came their way. And after the Raven King Odin wed Freya of Vanaheim, the realms were at peace. Jötunheim was safe, and everything appeared to be going well. But this would very quickly change while Odin had taken on more of a passive role, with one of his sons, Tyr, going out to unite the 9 realms and beyond. The Old Father would come to learn of Asgard's apocalypse. He would take all possible steps to prevent his death once he realized that he would die on the last day of Asgard. His focus would turn to Jötunheim at this point. Knowing of the Jötunn's abilities to see into the future, he would attempt to steal their ability of foresight. However, fortunately for the giants, they predicted this from a mile away. So if Odin tried to violate their peace agreement, he would be discovered by Jötunheim, and the secrets would be kept safe. Even so, they were unable to predict what would happen next despite all of their insight. Odin would unleash his complete wrath on the frost giants after finally succumbing to his madness, sending forth his son to kill every giant that resided in Midgard. This wasn't a battle. This was a slaughter. Thor slayed all that stood before him, showing no mercy as giants fell before him. This forced many of them to retreat back home. Tyr and Faye would work together to attempt to save as many Jötunn as they could. The giant serpent, Jormungandr, was able to hold off Thor, but in the end, the damage had been done, and a new era was born. Odin was on the warpath, and Faye and the giants would isolate themselves from everyone else, even locking the gate and the keys to Jötunheim with Tyr's help. The Jötunns believed that the right thing to do was to build themselves back up again, and whilst they did have the right idea, preserving their remaining numbers, they would travel out of Jötunheim as she still wished to assist her people that may not have made it to the gate in time. So Faye would travel to many different realms to assist the lost back home or help them relocate to another world. During his journey, she would come across the dwarven brothers, Brock and Sindri, the blacksmiths behind Thor's Mjolnir. They felt partially responsible for the deaths of the Jötunns, as it was their creation that allowed Thor to do what he did. And to repent for that, the brothers would forge the Leviathan axe, a weapon that would be seen as Mjolnir's equal to protect the remaining frost giants. And who's a better person to give it to than the guardian of the realm? A turning point ultimately came in the world of the giants. Although the cause of their deaths, whether starvation or diseases, has not been adequately established, they had the gift of foresight and could see the future before they died. And it was here that they discovered the Ragnarok prophecy and how Faye would start it. According to legend, she would encounter a warrior from a distant realm and get pregnant with a rebellious child who would bring about Asgard's demise and take vengeance on the fallen giants. At first, the Jötunns tried to hold Faye back, with her being the last guardian. She had a duty to her people, but they all knew in their hearts that they would all die together if Faye stayed. Faye would then depart from Jötunheim with this in mind and travel to Midgard to pursue her destiny. And soon, she would come upon Kratos, a warrior from a long-lost land. Now, it wasn't an instant love affair. Instead, there was an exchange of actions, not words. In order to determine whether or not this was the guy in the mural, Faye and Kratos engage in combat the first time they met, with Faye holding her own against the Spartan. Once the battle subsided, peace was made between the two, and in time their relationship would blossom into love, with the pair settling down in Midgard and having a child, Atreus, or Loki, as his mother would call him. The following years were very quiet for the pair, as Faye had cast a magical ward around their home to hide their existence from the gaze of Odin. Kratos was fairly cut off from the two at this time, preferring to spend his time in the woods channeling and controlling his rage from the past. Faye would be informed of the background when Kratos revealed his identity to her. Knowing the journey of her son and husband were about to take, she would push Kratos to do this, to strengthen himself for what was ahead. When Kratos was fighting, Faye made the decision to stay at home and raise Atreus. She had a very special bond with the kid, teaching him to read and write as well as giving him her talon bow. When the time came, Faye would die anyway, but not before completing one last act. Having hidden her identity from both Kratos and Atreus, she knew that she would have to push them into the hands of fate. She would first mark a tree in the forest for her cremation, after which she would request that Kratos and Atreus carry her ashes to the highest mountain in the 9 realms and free her. Faye was in ashes, but her dying wishes are ultimately what kept Kratos and Atreus traveling to Jötunheim throughout the game's narrative. She reveals her identity to Odin by having the tree chopped down, and he responds by dispatching Baldur to their home, who mistakes Kratos for a giant. Despite her inactivity throughout the story, you can still see her gold markings on the landscape, indicating how well she understood every detail of their journey and how it would play out as they traveled. In the end, Faye's wishes are fulfilled when the Guardian returns to her home, and the prophecy is realized when Kratos and Atreus discover Faye's actual ancestry, the fact that she was a giant, and the truth about Atreus's real name, Loki. The story of Faye is exquisitely sad, since it deals with both devotion and destiny. She makes it quite evident that she cares about both her family and her people. She is aware of what is ahead for them in Midgard, and she leaves behind a legacy that enables the son to feel a connection to his father, something that was absent prior to the game. So her death is both a trigger for the growth of Kratos and the fall of Asgard. With that being said, this has been it for the Tale of Faith, the last guardian of Jötunheim. There are still many gaps in her story that would be filled by the recent installation. What else will we learn about Faye? Let us know down in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.